Ready for more Greek and Latin roots?
Sure thing. What's up?
Phone, poly, port, post and pre.
First, remind me why we need to do this.
A lot of words in English come from the Greek and Latin. So when you come across new words in your reading, you can more easily figure out what they mean. And you can use them in your writing to make it more interesting.
Will it make me sound smarter, too?
Sure.
I'm ready, then.
We'll start with phone, phono and phony.
Phony. That's like someone being fake.
Yeah, but the root comes from the Greek for sound. So someone who is phony is someone who wants to sound like something they're not.
Okay.
Look at the word phonics.
You mean like what we learned in kindergarten?
That's right. It's the science that deals with speech sounds and, more specifically, how we put those together to read.
Wait. I thought speech is log and study of is logy.
It is.
So why isn't it phonology?
There is another branch of linguistics, that's the study of language, called phonology. And that studies how sounds are organized. Phonics is more how we learn to use those sounds. Remember, the Greek and Latin roots may not always give you the total definition, but it helps you figure out in the context of a sentence what the word means.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. The composer's last symphony included a blast of trumpets at the finale.
So I know that a composer writes music, and of course, trumpets are musical instruments. And I know SYM means the same. Phony means sounds. So I can figure out that a symphony is a group of sounds that work together.
Right. You've got it. Can you think of other words that use one of those word cells?
Microphone. Making small sounds bigger. Kind of like a microscope lets you see small things bigger. And a megaphone makes things really loud. Telephone. Tele means distance, so a telephone lets you hear things that are far away. But, really, who uses the word telephone anymore? We usually just say phone.
Right. Words change all the time. But when you know where it comes from, you can figure out words like eponymous or cacophony.
Huh?
EU means what?
It means something good.
And fin means?
Sounds.
And IOUS means?
Having a certain quality. That means words ending in IOUS are usually adjectives.
Right. So eponymous means?
Sounding good.
Yay. You're right.
But what in the world is cacophony?
CSEO means harsh?
So cacophony means harsh or really bad sounds.
Yep. You're getting it. So we'll move on. To poly.
That means a lot, right?
Yes. Can you dissect the word polygon into word cells for me?
Poly means many, and gon means angle. So a polygon has many angles.
Yes. Just remember that it means a geometric figure and not something like an argument that has many angles to it.
Got it? Same with the polyhedron. It's a solid geometric figure with many faces.
Yep. Here are some other words. Polytheism is poly, which means many, with THE, which means gods, and ISM, which means belonging to a group. So polytheism is a belief in many gods. It's a noun.
And if it was an adjective, it would be polytheistic.
Yes. But the noun, polytheism, refers to the actual belief system. It is an abstract noun. That means you can't really see, touch, or feel it. So you would never use an article such as a or the in front of it. But if you want to refer to a person who has these beliefs, that person is a polytheist. That's a concrete noun.
That's a lot to remember, but it makes sense.
Look at the word polygamy.
Poly means many and gamy means marriages. Wait, does polygamy mean many marriages?
Yes. And that's an abstract noun. A person who practices polygamy is a polygamist. Or he or she lives a polygamous lifestyle.
That last one, polygamous, is an adjective, right?
Yes, it is. Can you think of other words with poly?
Monopoly. We had that one before. It means one having control over many.
Okay, and there are a lot of scientific words that use poly. Just know that a word with poly in it will have in its meaning something to do with many.
What's the next root?
Port. It means to carry. But it also means door, gate, or harbor. And, unlike the other roots or phone and poly, which come from the Greek, this one comes from the Latin.
There are tons of words that use this root. How can I tell the difference of whether they mean to carry or gate or harbor?
I think you know how to do that.
Right. From context.
Here's a sentence. The reporter's story led to the indictment of the company's owner.
Okay, just a minute. I can figure out that a reporter is the news writer. Literally, that means someone who brings something back. But what in the world is an indictment?
Sorry. I didn't mean to include a word like that. But do you remember what DICT means?
Speech or talking.
And it means bringing in. So indict means bringing in an announcement. And, in legal terms, an indictment is a formal accusation, or bringing an announcement of charges against someone.
I guess I can use a dictionary, too, if I am not sure.
That's a good idea. Here are some simpler words. An airport is a place, a harbor, for airplanes. A seaport is the same thing but for boats and ships. Something that's portable is able to be carried.
What's the difference between import and export, and why can't we use them to refer to people?
Import means to bring something in, and export means to send it out. But even though they seem like they could apply to anything, we don't generally use them for people. It's usually used with things or ideas.
But you can use them sometimes.
Right, and you will hear that. But it's used to make a point and is not in everyday conversations.
What are people being sent out of a country?
Then we say those people are deported, not exported. But you can say, the company exported jobs to China, or even, the company exported workers to staff its factory in China.
Technically, then, import means to bring in, export means to send out, deport means to send out, but refers more to people.
You've got it. Other words are transport, which means to carry across. A porter is someone who carries things. Usually at an airport, hotel, apartment building, etc.
Okay, what other roots do we have?
We were going to talk about the last two together, pre and post. Pre means before, post means after. See how fast you can give me some words with those roots.
Postpone. To put off until later. Predict. To say what's going to happen in the future. Postscript. Something added in writing after the end. Prehistoric. Referring to something before written history.
Good. Here are some more. Post-mortem. Post means after, mort means death. So it means after death. Usually a port-mortem is an exam performed after someone has died.
Like an autopsy.
Right? Posthumous also has to do with death. Technically, after one has been buried, since hum means ground in Latin. After one is in the ground. And a premonition means a warning or notice beforehand.
A lot of times it means something not so good, right? She had a premonition about her final grade after the test.
It's one of those words that often has a negative connotation.
I think that's a lot to remember today. Are we done?
Yes. I predict success in these Greek and Latin roots if you study them.